It is Vlogmas day 12. I can't believe it. That means we're like halfway to Christmas, right? Or at least like halfway to Christmas Eve. That's crazy. And I just finished applying some of this rosebud salve onto my lips because they're really chapped. And I'm still like dealing with all this sinus congestion, as if you've watched the other videos, you've probably heard. But yeah, I can't wait. Like, I still haven't tried those other lip products that I've got from Ulta recently because of all this. I haven't tried any of the eyeshadows either for that reason. Well, because I still feel like I've got the dry eyes and sometimes watery, sinusy eyes. So I'm like, let me hold off till I feel better. But I'm afraid this is going to be like when I've worked at, one of my other jobs in the past. I would have like a really bad sinus infection, and this would happen like year after year there. But it would be during the winter, and it'd be so cold in the store, so icy cold in the store. And it's like every time like I'd have a day or two off and I'd start to feel better, and I'd go into the store and be like freezing cold the whole time with like air blowing on me, and it would just restart all over again. So I feel like, I mean, I'm not going to say that's happening this time around, but the weeks that I've been the worst have been the weeks where I've worked the most days, let's put it that way. So it felt like last week I was kind of on the path of getting better, and I am a whole lot better, but I worked a lot of days this week compared to recent history. Well, whatever, anyway. But yeah, so I'm hopefully next week will be a shorter week for me. Paycheck isn't gonna hope that, but I'm kind of hoping that, so that I can like hopefully be fully better. Anyway, long-winded about that. I'm gonna insert a couple of clips here, just, you know, I'm trying to do like a daily kitty cameo, and it's typically Domino's because, again, he's the one who's around most of the time when I'm filming. So I'll insert that, and as well as what I baked for dinner tonight. So hi, Domino's. I've got the laundry going on in the background, but this is what I'm fixing for dinner tonight. This was like a I guess you could say breaded Parmesan chicken I got from Kroger yesterday. It was on sale for like $3.50. I should say it was marked down for $3.50. It's originally $10, and I can't believe 4 pieces of chicken were $10, but I guess that's the economy we live in. And then we're also going to have some garlic toast. And this is how mine turned out. As expected, I stayed home today and didn't do hardly anything other than some stuff around the house. But my dad, I feel like I talk about him so much on here. Anyway, my dad and his friend who lives with us, which I'm just gonna, for the sake of easiness and everything, I'm just gonna refer to him from now on as Unc, if I think about that, because he is pretty much like an uncle to me. Like, he may not be blood family, but he is family. Like, he's been family for like 2 decades now. So I mean, like, he would come to our family holidays. Like, when my aunt and uncle would host Thanksgiving and Christmas, he would come. Like, he was just part of the family, and it all started because of them, or at least from my point of view, it all started because of them. But he's family, so we're just gonna call him Unc. So anyway, Unc took my dad out to go Christmas shopping for me, apparently, and my dad had to kind of well, not really ruin the surprise. I'm kind of actually relieved. Like, when I heard what was going on, I'm kind of relieved. But anyway, let me start the backstory here. So back, I guess this was during 2020, like at the height of COVID. I don't even know how or why it came up, but I was on the Tiffany website, and somehow, I don't know. Anyway, I was looking at the rings, and I found this one sterling silver ring, and as I was scrolling, it looked like it said taco on it. And I was like, I was amused. I was like, is that because tacos are trendy? You know, like Taco Tuesday, everybody loves tacos. I was like, why does Tiffany have a taco ring? So I was like, what? Like, I was perplexed and intrigued. So I clicked on it and enlarged it and realized that it didn't say taco. It said T, and it had that, was it ampersand, the little and sign? Co. So, you know, for Tiffany and Company. So I was like, oh. But the price of the ring at the time was like $180, and it was sterling silver. And my mind was blown because I'm thinking, what piece of jewelry can you get from Tiffany that's like under $400 or $500? That's like, I was shocked. I was like, that's really affordable. And I kind of like laughed about it. I think I even posted it on Facebook. Well, I did post it on Facebook, I remember, because somebody else was like, oh yeah, it does look like it says taco on it at first glance. So I was like, okay, thank goodness I'm not the only one. But it just kind of stayed in my mind. Like, I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Again, in my mind, it's affordable. It's like, why not buy it? But COVID, and I wanted to have, if I was going to buy something from Tiffany, I wanted to go into the store and have an experience with shopping, because honestly, I've never been inside a Tiffany store before. So I wanted that experience of shopping for a ring at Tiffany, inside Tiffany. So I was like, I'll just wait till things get more normal again, and then I'll go get it. And so then I eventually, like, it festered in my mind, and I realized, like, wait, there, I think it was Bellagio. At Bellagio, they have a Tiffany store. So I was like, well, I've got free rooms at Bellagio. Like, went through this whole thing about, like, constantly thinking, oh, we're going to go back to Vegas once things get more normal, because COVID. But, you know, over time, that still has yet to happen. And now I've lost a lot of my free room opportunities have gone out the door. Bye-bye. I mean, for anybody who is interested, you can play the My Vegas apps. Like, there's a whole group of apps associated with My Vegas that you can play and get rooms, but there's a lot of restrictions there, but it's possible. Anyway, that's still way on the back burner, still just a hope and dream. But all that to say, I got to thinking, why not wait till I go to Vegas to have my Tiffany experience when I can stay at Bellagio and just, you know, really enjoy it, be there, be just like a whole experience, like I keep saying. Well, also, if you've been around for a while, I think I've talked about this, little Domino's, little buddy here, he had his whole thing, his whole medical emergency blockage, and he is why you should always feed your cat wet food and make sure that they are extremely dry or hydrated, and stay away from dry food as much as possible, because if they have a urinary blockage, it's a horrifying experience, and he could have really died from that. Like, had he not had the help he had when he had it, he would have not been here. So anyway, I joke about, like, I'm gonna rename him Tiffany Vegas, because that's where I had all this money saved up, and that's where it went. So anyway, let me get him unstuck. So I've been thinking about this ring ever since then. But here's the thing, as you all know, everything has just gone up in price over the years. So now, like, I watched this ring go from $180 to $200 to $220 to $240 or $250 to $280, and now I think it's at $320. So it's sterling silver, like I said, sterling silver is not like the most precious metal, like, you know, but still maybe it might be worth it because of the brand name. Honestly, that was another thing. Like, that's one thing where I'm like, I want the brand name, like, but anywho, so my dad kept saying, no, he's gonna buy this ring for me, blah blah blah. I was like, you don't have to. You really don't have to, especially once it got past $250. I'm like, no, definitely no. But that's when it just, like, I just kind of scratched it off my list. But I kept checking the price just to see if it would ever go down. But I'm that's probably a lost cause. Anywho, so he said that they went out to Tiffany today, and that he asked for the cheapest thing they had at the store. It's like, oh, thank goodness I was not there with him. But they pointed out the cheapest thing, they claimed the cheapest thing they had in the store was a $2,500 ring, but it had a diamond in it. So he was like, no. I was like, thank goodness that was a no. I just, like, oh my gosh. I mean, I'm sure they get that, but who goes into Tiffany and just straight up asks, what's the cheapest thing you sell? And I'm shocked that, like, I know they've got to have something cheaper there than $2,500 ring. I mean, you know, they've got to have, like, I'm sure they have the sterling silver chains for necklaces, and those are just gonna be like, well, nowadays they might be like $200 or $300. They used to be like, what, 120, 150 at most. Well, not at most, but I mean, I remember a time when you could get them for like $90 on the website, because back when I was making jewelry, like working with sterling silver, which I didn't do a whole lot of because of the pricing, but at the time I remember comparing, like when I was looking for sterling silver chain for some of my jewelry projects, just looking at Tiffany's just to see, like, just to get a feel for the pricing, like, of something of a higher end necklace, to see, like, how good of a deal that I would be getting, and if I wanted to replicate something, you know, back when they had the key necklaces, which I got me a key necklace when I worked at Sears. It's not like a identical Tiffany dupe, but I got it because it reminded me of the Tiffany key necklaces. But anyway, so I was like, and you know, they've got to have like other stuff like keychains, and I know they have a perfume that I know is not no $2,500. I'm sure they had the perfume in the store, but not that I want the perfume. I've never smelled it, but I'm assuming for what Tiffany's cost, I probably do not want the perfume. Anyway, so he asked me when he got home, he was like asking me about like what size ring do I wear, because I'm like, how are you even ring shopping when you don't know what size ring I typically wear, like. But when he told me all that, I was like, dude, it's just as well. Like, I was like, and I explained to him that I only wanted the ring because it was inexpensive at the time. Like, that's the biggest reason. Like, yes, I want it for the name and because it was inexpensive. And I didn't say this, but like, really, I kind of wanted it because I thought it was funny because it looks like it says taco on it. And I was like, huh, that's funny. But it's really Tiffany. Yeah, so that. But then I told him also, like, gotta keep in mind, I'm allergic to pretty much most metals. Like, I can wear metal jewelry, like different metal, like base metals, I guess. But you know, if it's not gold, I can't wear it long term. And I learned a lesson a really hard way. But anyway, I was like, I told him, like, that I could only wear it for a few hours at a time. Because, you know, sterling silver, even though it's a nicer metal, I can't deal with it. And something else, I don't think I've ever talked about this. I haven't really talked about this with much anybody. But when I was engaged, going through that time, I did a lot of research into the ring because I got to pick out the rings. engagement ring and my wedding band, and we went ahead and got them, or he went ahead and got them for me, my ex. But I thought white gold was the way to go because it was gold, but it looked like silver. And so that's what both bands were made out of, were white gold. And it didn't really click to me at the time, but what I didn't know, there's a lot of things I didn't know, but I thought white gold was just like yellow gold, you know, it was gold, like gold. But I didn't realize that in order to make it light like that, that silver tone, it's mixed with a bunch of other metals, I think, or it's mixed with other metals, and it's plated, and I want to say it's rhodium. I could be very wrong about that, but I think that's what it was. And again, I didn't know this at the time. I found out later on, like a couple of years later, or a year later, whatever, after everything went, that every so often, like every few years, you need to have it replated. If you have white gold, you're supposed to have it replated because that plating of rhodium or whatever can flake off. And which my ex had purchased the extended warranty plan or whatever, care plan for my ring through, because we got it through Sears, so I could get the discount. But yeah, so that would have been covered in that. But I'm kind of wondering, in hindsight, like everybody who purchased jewelry from Sears, I wonder what happened if they had those extended care plans. Which I'm guessing that there's probably like a big parent company that's still in business, but like typically you would take it to Sears, to the jewelry counter, and then they would do the processing and send it off for you and all that jazz. So anyway, but again, because it has all those metals mixed into it, I didn't know. I noticed after we had been engaged for like a month or two, like my finger would be kind of dull, and like it would have like a dull itchiness to it. Like it never looked irritated, but it always felt kind of irritated and itchy. And I never connected the dots. Like I kind of thought it was the ring, but I wasn't sure because again, it was a white gold ring. But knowing what I know now, I was allergic to it. So I have discovered that I really, if I'm going to have a ring that I'm going to wear on a regular basis, it needs to be just basic yellow gold. So, yeah, all that to say, if I'm going to get, like, in my mind, if anything over a certain price point is going to be spent on jewelry for me, I want it to be gold. Like, just for the sake of me being able to wear it and not waste it. Because, like I said, I can wear it for a few hours, but after that, it starts to aggravate and irritate my skin. And I've encountered that. Like, I've gotten sterling silver earrings because I thought, like, my ears were the biggest thing. That was another thing. I thought it was primarily my earlobes. Like, because I never experienced it, like, wearing anything. Like, I have some sterling silver rings that I wear, but I don't wear them, like, all day long until overnight or anything like that. But with that engagement ring, it never occurred to me that, I mean, like, with your earrings, like, that's going through, like, you've got skin, like, your skin is coating that entire post of the earring, whereas, like, a ring, it's just like on the surface. Anyway, which I mean, this is the surface. Once you have a hole in your ear, but that makes sense. I'm sure it does. So, yeah, I'm glad that he did not purchase a ring from Tiffany. And that was such a stupidly long story. But, anyway, so I guess I'm gonna kind of wrap this up a bit, because also I need to work on a TikTok video for my other little TikTok account that I have for a skincare product, because my time is ticking. My deadline's almost here and it's almost up, and I went on this whole long rant on my private Facebook page about it, but sometimes I wonder, like, these big companies, you know, they're typically, they hire people who are either like college interns or just like fresh out of college, you know. And I don't know if it's because times have changed so much, but whoever writes up stuff, like PR stuff and marketing stuff, like especially prompts that are going out to people that people are supposed to use as like scripts, like it's just, I don't understand it. Like the grammar is horrible. The way, I mean, I am not the most intelligent person. I'm not even a great writer, but for the most part, I can use words correctly. I can use past and present tense correctly. Now, I know when I talk, like, sometimes, like, words don't come out fully when I speak. Like, the way I speak, like, a lot of words get kind of cut off, or it sounds like I'm talking improper English because, like, I'll be in the middle of saying something, and sometimes I do cut the sound off of my word, or it just, I don't know. But in my mind, I'm speaking the right tenses and right words and everything, and I will use improper English, improper grammar such as ain't. But that's just the southern. That's just the southern in me. Especially when it gets a little riled up, or something where I'm like, we're not going there. We ain't going there. But yeah, so it just, I've been, I guess, hyper focused on like this whole, like, what I'm supposed to say, like what they suggest that I say or what they want me to say, and I'm just kind of like hung up on certain things that have been written because I'm like, who wrote this? Like, how are you with a big company and writing this on behalf of this big company? Anyway, I am grateful that I got sent this product because it is an expensive product, and it's a really good product from what I've been trying it for a week. And that's the thing, I was so, you know, because I was sick, I kind of held off on trying it for several nights, waiting until I felt better. But now, like, I had a 2-week time frame, and I'm almost at the end of that 2-week time frame, and I need to get this video up and going. And it just, like, I don't know, just like I said, what we're supposed to say, like, I mean, there's still a lot of room for our opinions and our, you know, phrasing it the way we want to, but at the same time, I'm just, like, hung up on these stupid things that I'm just like, again, who wrote this and who allowed for it to be put out there? Like, is there nobody supervising, nobody proofreading, or what? Has this not been pointed out and sent back to the company to fix? Like, I don't know. I just, like, are we living in such this is just a rhetorical question. Like, are we living in such a country or world or whatever to where things have to be really dumbed down to the point to where if they sound dumb, it's normal? Like, because heaven forbid you make something, like, you write something correctly or you correct something and then it's like, oh no, that's not, because I've heard that before. Like, you know, you gotta talk to people like they're dumb so that they can understand, because if you assume that they're working at a higher, and I'm not saying that I'm functioning at a higher frequency, by no means, but I've heard, especially in business, that, you know, just remember to talk down dumb so that people understand you better. And I'm like, are we really having to take that seriously now? And that where it's acceptable to, maybe I'm just being way too harsh and judgmental. I've been told that I'm extremely judgmental. Maybe I'm just being extremely judgmental, but still, I'm thinking back to when I was in college again. When I was in college, and when I took English classes in college, especially the first college I went to, it was driven to me really, really hard about how important things have to be. Like, we got marks off of our, like, we did so many papers, and I found out that the way I learned how to write a paper was not anywhere near what was expected in college. So that was a very hard lesson for me, because I went from being like making A's on my papers I wrote in high school to making F's and D's on papers I wrote in college, especially the first couple of semesters. By the time I got to my second college, I was in an English class, and the teacher I had there, she always commented that she was impressed with how well written my papers were in that class, and I was just kind of shocked because of all the other classes at the other, yeah, anyway. So it blows my mind. I'm like, is this the age? I mean, this is the digital age. Is this a result of the digital age? But anyway, oh my gosh, I've just gone on a long-winded rant over several things, but I'm just going to shut up now and just end this vlog. Well, this will be the Ranty Rant vlog. Okay, anyway, until next time, hope everybody's doing well.